WADR.
WADR.
West Africa Democracy Radio.
WADR. Promoting dialogue.
Good afternoon and many thanks for staying tuned to West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and around the world on WADR.org. This is NEWSLINK. Here are the top stories. Nigerian crisis deepens as the junta accuses France of military offensives and ongoing troops deployment. Former Guinean President Alpha Conde's party accuses international community of double standards on coups. Prime Minister Amadou Ba's nomination as presidential candidate sparks debate in Senegal.
In fact, Aly Ngouille Ndiaye, who can be considered now as the former Minister of Agriculture, considers himself as more legitimate than Amadou Ba.
Also coming up in the bulletin, query site explosion claims lives of 4 Chinese and Ghanaian nationals in Ghana's western region.
The latest issue on the ground is we haven't found the missing staff, so we are still searching for them. So far, it is confirmed that 4 people were dead, 5 were injured, 4 are missing.
Stay with us for details of these stories and more.
Here is Tawfiq Abdul Nasser with NEWSLINK.
Many thanks for joining us and a warm welcome to our listeners in Liberia, Ghana and the Gambia. Let's begin our broadcast this afternoon with the latest on the Nigerian crisis, where military authorities have leveled accusations against France for allegedly orchestrating a military offensive. In an official press release, the transitional government has drawn the attention of both national and global audiences to the ongoing situation. It says, despite the announced withdrawal plans, France is reportedly persisting in deploying its troops within various ECOWAS regions, raising concerns of an impending joint operation with the regional organization aimed at Niger. For more details, here is Oge Obierika.
The National Committee for the Salvation of the People, CNSP, stated in its press release that 100 rotations of military cargo planes have facilitated the delivery of substantial quantities of war materials and equipment to Senegal, Côte d'Ivoire and Benin. This move comes amid concerns regarding the sincerity of France's announced withdrawal plan. The CNSP expressed their dissatisfaction and criticism, characterizing France's actions as lacking sincerity and questioning the authenticity of the French withdrawal plan. They argued that this withdrawal announcement is originating from an operational level and is not officially endorsed by the French General Staff of the Armed Forces or the French government. Furthermore, it has not been accompanied by any official written or declarative press release as noted by the CNSP. The military authorities have issued a solemn appeal to the people of Niger, urging them to remain vigilant and steadfast until the inevitable departure of French troops from their ancestral territory. This situation stems from the coup d'etat on July 26, when elements of the Presidential Guard ousted the democratically elected President Mohamed Bazoum. The CNSP was established in the aftermath of this coup, and it demanded the departure of the French ambassador and French forces from the country. However, these demands were rejected by Paris, which does not recognize the new authorities.
Ogiobi Erika reporting there. In Guinea, the political party led by former President Alpha Conde is raising concerns over what it perceives as a double standard within the international community regarding the condemnation of coups d'etats in the sub-region. The RPJ Council has expressed its bewildered at the disparity in reactions from entities such as ECOWAS, France, and other African Union nations. They question why demands for Mohamed Bazoum's return to power in Niger are strong, unlike when Condé was ousted in 2021. The RPG threatens street protest to push for Condé's return. The party spokesperson, Sidi Kiture, has been speaking to WADR on the development.
We are taking steps to raise awareness among our young comrades so that young people become more conscious of the need to demand justice in Guinea. How many months has it been since our executives were arrested? Justice keeps coming and going. Is there any precision yet? The first victim of this injustice is President Alpha Condé. To be strong in our demands, we must be united. As much as we are going to demand the return of President Alpha Condé, we are also going to demand the release of our unjustly arrested executives. The first coup d'etat took place in Mali against a democratically elected president. We didn't hear about it from certain countries. The second was in Guinea. You didn't hear anything. But recently, there was a coup d'etat in Niger. You've seen what the international community and certain countries are doing. We now see their interest in this country manifests. We have to realize that only the people themselves can solve a country's problems. It's not an international community.
Sidi Kiture is the spokesperson for RPG Party. Now, reactions are pouring in following Senegalese President Macky Sall's recent appointment of Prime Minister Amadou Ba as the presidential candidate for the ruling Benno Bokk Yakaar coalition. Ba, a 62-year-old taxation specialist who has previously served as both the economy and foreign minister, assumed the role of prime minister in September of the previous year. The Benno Bokk Yakaar coalition members are keen on avoiding lengthy primary processes just months before the candidate's submission deadline granted President Sall the authority to select their candidate. Shortly after this significant announcement, former Minister of Agriculture Ali Ngul took to his social media account to announce his resignation, a move experts speculate was driven by his aspirations for the presidential flag-bearer position within the ruling coalition. We'll bring you more in our guest interview.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. NEWSLINK continues.
In Liberia, a female presidential candidate from the African Liberation League, Sarah Besolo Nyati, expresses concern about the limited representation of women candidates in the upcoming October 10 elections. According to the Electoral Commission, women candidates comprise just 15% of the total candidates nominated by the political parties. This figure falls short of both Liberia's constitutional provisions, which call for equal representation, and the 30% quota agreed upon by political parties. WADR's Darlington Popper in Monrovia now reports.
Sarah Beslo-Yanti emphasized that the 2023 elections represent a crucial opportunity for Liberia to advance gender equity. However, she expressed deep disappointment in the performance of political parties regarding voluntary quotas for women's representation. In response, she pledged that if she becomes president following the October 10 presidential and legislative elections, her administration will constitute an equal 50% representation of women and men.
And ensuring that in my government that I will lead, there will be 50% women participation in leadership. Although we've had a female president, it hasn't changed the culture. We need to push for women's participation in politics, women's participation in socio-economic and political decision-making.
On a different note, Woki Kowudolo, a candidate for representative in Mosrado County District 6, has vowed to advocate for the passage of legislation establishing the minimum threshold of 30% women's representation in government.
We're not even limiting ourselves to that 30% because we deserve more. I mean, that's why we are pushing for more women to enter the house to work along with the men. And if you want to prioritize, the women objectives too must be prioritized.
Presidio Cooper, A female Unity Party representative candidate in Wadr County District 5 holds a differing view. She believes that women should not be given a special seat but should instead actively compete with their male counterparts.
I share a slightly different view. I don't even think we should be given the opportunity, we should fight for it. What happened to an all-female legislature? We should not limit ourselves. Fight for a place.
Cooper argued that former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf did not ascend to the presidency through preferential treatment, and therefore women seeking elected positions should compete on an equal footing to secure their seats. For NEWSLINK on West Africa Democracy Radio, I'm Darlington Popper in Monrovia.
And now to Ghana, where an explosion at a quarry site in Shama, a suburb of the western region, has claimed the lives of 4 Chinese and Ghanaian nationals. Many individuals remain missing in the aftermath of the Sunday dawn incident, with several others sustaining injuries. This tragic event follows a similar explosion that occurred in the same region back in January 2021, resulting in the loss of several lives. From Accra, Atiwin Imbilalosin reports.
The victims affected by the explosion are reported to be night shift workers at the quarry site, and tragically, they were on duty when the explosion occurred. Among the victims, 4 workers have been identified so far, but they suffered severe burns, with some being unrecognizable due to the extent of their injuries. Michael Nyan, the Shama District Officer of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, has provided an update on the death toll and the ongoing rescue efforts.
The latest issue on the ground is we haven't found the missing staff, so we are still searching for them. So far, it is confirmed that 4 people were dead, 5 were injured, 4 are missing, which we are not finding them. So at the moment, this force is on the ground.
In response to the disaster, Samuel Abaka, the Member of Parliament for the area, emphasizes that the community will require external support from the central government and other well-wishers due to the significant damage caused by the explosion.
We are going around trying to assess the extent of damage. Surely we would need governmental support. Though the extent of damage support is fully estimated, what we will say central government support. And as well-wishers, industry is afraid to do the.
The precise cause of the explosion is yet to be established by the security agencies. The injured ones have been sent to various hospitals within the Western region. Reporting for NEWSLINK on West Africa Democracy Radio, I am Atiewin Imbila Lawson in Accra.
The United States Agency for International Development, USAID, has unveiled a funding commitment of $15 million to bolster food system across Africa. This announcement was made during the Africa Food System Forum held in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Deputy USAID Administrator Isobel Coleman, along with Assistant to the Administrator for the Bureau for Resilience and Food Security, Dinah Esposito, jointly introduced this new investment geared towards promoting inclusive and resilient food system on the continent. Marty C. report.
A sum of $50 million has been allocated to provide targeted support to women, smallholder farmers, and small and medium-sized businesses operating within food systems across the African continent. This financial commitment is part of the U.S. government's Feed the Future initiative, aimed at addressing food insecurity and the challenges posed by rising fertilizer prices in Africa. During the opening session of the forum's deal room, which serves as a platform for fostering new agribusiness deals and commitments, Deputy Administrator Coleman unveiled a $4 million investment in AgriValue for her initiative. This initiative marks Africa's pioneering agribusiness digital marketplace designed specifically to empower women in the sector. It's worth noting that a significant gender disparity exists in financial services among women-owned small and medium-sized businesses in developing countries, which contributes to gender inequality. Value for Her, implemented by AGRA, seeks to bridge this gap by facilitating the formation of business networks, access to capital, and connections with buyers, financiers, and other essential service providers for women-led agribusinesses.
Marty C. with that report. You're listening to NewsLink on West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM Dakar. Here is a reminder of our top stories. Nigerian crisis deepens as the junta accuses France of military offensives and ongoing troop deployment. Former Guinean President Alpha Conde's party accuses international community of double standards on coup. Prime Minister Hamadou Ba's nomination as presidential candidate sparks debate in Senegal, and query site explosion claims lives of 4 Chinese and Ghanaian nationals in Ghana's western region. Still ahead is the press review, guest interview, and sports update. Stay with us.
West Africa Democracy Radio. It's you speaking.
The Senegalese government is speeding up efforts to restore regions of the country in the Sahel. To achieve this target, an agency it founded in 2019 known as the Great Green Wall GMW is leading research and partnership with world-class scientists and environmentalists. Now, a recent finding by an Israeli professor on a mission in Senegal to accelerate the GMV's goal of regreening the country by 2030 attracted climate experts and conservationists at the Israeli embassy in Dakar. Abdullahi Hassan was there and now reports.
The stretch of the Sahel, once covered with green vegetation, has lost its fields and continues to face rapid deforestation due to global warming and other forms of human activities. But also understanding the impact of global warming underneath the surface of the earth, which affects the growth of plants, weighs in. Unraveling this combined phenomena is Professor Arnon Kanieli's mission. A lead researcher from an Israeli university, Professor Kanieli's measuring of soil moisture took him to 3 areas of Senegal, including St. Louis and Lingué. His briefing at the Israeli embassy in Dakar was themed Application of Remote Sensing in Desertification.
The objective, as a matter of fact, has 2 goals. The first is to develop or to use a model in order to understand what is the distribution in time and space of the soil moisture. And the second is to help the pasture area, which is the main food resources in the Sahelian region.
The Israeli government says this partnership through the Great Green Wall is one of many ways to help Senegal restore and build resilience in the agricultural sector. Ben Bogel is the Israeli ambassador to Senegal.
We're doing our utmost to make sure that Senegalese experts, but also Senegalese professionals when it comes to key issues of common interest such as water management, agriculture entrepreneurship, can get the best of the Israeli experience to be much more accurate when it comes to dealing with common challenges such as climate change, food security, water management, and so on.
For the Senegalese Agency for Restoration and the Great Green Wall, the task ahead is huge. Not only will the organization help combat desertification, but create ecological villages and green jobs. Omar Abdullahi is the Director General of the agency.
Reforestation is not about planting trees alone. No, it's about restoring the ecosystem and giving opportunities to community to relieve of what we do, which means building projects that can contribute to reforestation at the same time put money in your pocket. Planting tree is good, but if you plant a tree that can feed you, it's even much better.
The eventual outcome of the study upon completion should assist the 11 member countries of the Great Green Wall, such as Mali, Burkina Faso, Mauritania, and Djibouti, among others, to regenerate their green areas.
Abdullahi Hassan, Fat Report.
This is the newspaper review. Stay on top of the news. Get the most important stories with added insight and concise review.
This is the newspaper review.
Here is Usman Umar in Abuja with the major headlines from the Nigerian dailies.
Hello and welcome to the press review segment. So today we have a couple of newspapers and we'll begin with the Blueprint newspaper. The Blueprint is leading this morning with this story saying traditional rulers collaborating with bandits risk sanction. This is according to Northeast governors. With a rider, gunmen kill woman, abduct police officer's wife, daughter in Taraba State. Set up to governors. Wike make full disclosures of 74 billion naira palliative spending in 7 days. Set up, of course, socio-economic rights and accountability projects is talking to governors, including the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, that they should make full disclosures on 74 billion naira palliative spending in 7 days. Now, let's quickly move to the Daily Sun. The Daily Sun is leading with this story saying Tinubu Atiku legal battle shifts to the United States. With a rider, court hears Chicago University case tomorrow. This has to do with the ongoing case regarding the February 25 presidential election, where the challengers of the current president Tinubu, that is Atiku Abubakar, is challenging the certificate that the present President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says he has obtained from Chicago University. Now that the Presidential Election Petition Court has ended its own case and the case is now proceeding to Supreme Court, another version of it is saying that, of course, Atiku is still pursuing that end of discussion. It's claiming that the president does not have his certificate from the Chicago University. And, of course, the case is still ongoing and the court is to hear the case tomorrow, Tuesday. And then finally, let's move to the Daily Independent. Daily Independent is leading with this story saying debt overhang, rising inflation may impede Nigeria's economic rebirth. This story is taking a deeper look at the issue of debt overhang and rising inflation, which it is saying that it may hamper Nigeria's economic rebirth, which the present president, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, through his renewed hope agenda, is championing. These are the papers we have for you for today from the Daily, for the press review segment for today. It's back to you in the studio. My name is Osman Omar.
Politics, analysis on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
Our guest interview focuses on Senegalese President Macky Sall's appointment of Prime Minister Amadou Ba as the presidential candidate for the ruling Benno Bokk Yakaar coalition. The Benno Bokk Yakaar coalition members are keen on avoiding lengthy primary processes just months before the candidate submission deadline granted President Sall the authority to select their candidate. Shortly after this significant announcement, former Minister of Agriculture Ali Ngul took to his social media account to announce his resignation, a move experts speculate was driven by his aspirations for the presidential flag-bearer position within the ruling coalition. Joining us now is Mohamedou Tor, a Senegalese political analyst.
It's not really a surprise because almost everybody was expecting Amadou Ba to be named as the candidate of the Benno Bokk Yakaar coalition. When you look at all those contenders, the other candidates, he is the one who is the prime minister, which means the highest level. So naturally, if he's the one chosen to be the candidate of the coalition ruling currently the country, is something which is not a surprise.
Right. So do you think Amadou Ba's background as a taxation specialist and his previous roles as economy and foreign minister might bring the Benno Bokk Yakaar back to power?
Yeah, he has been the minister in charge of economy and finance, so he knows economy. And this is key for somebody who want to, become president. So, when you look at the different posts he went through as ministers of the economy and finance, the minister of foreign affairs. So, yeah, we can say that he's he can be the right man at the right place if he's elected next next year. But this is not the only thing we have to take into account. We have to look at his political, life. And when you look at here in Dakar, because Parcelles Assainies, which is considered as his stronghold, he lost the last two elections. The election for the mayor, and he lost against somebody, the most Senegalese that do not know, who belong to the PASTEF party. And for the MP's election, he lost Dakar. So, and even those, his colleague in the APR party, criticize him for that. How come that he's chosen when maybe a person like Ali Ngouille, who is the mayor of Linguère, he has been a mayor since 2014 for 2 terms now, and this is his 3rd term. So, people cannot understand how he can be preferred to those who are winning in the stronghold, and Amadou Ba is not winning here in Dakar. So, this is a main handicap for Amadou Ba, a main obstacle.
Right. Okay, so something interesting happened immediately after the big announcement. That is, the former agricultural minister tendered his resignation, which sparked public reactions. Others think he was hurt by the president's decision, while others believe he resigned to signal the president about his availability to become the next prime minister. Which of the views are you of?
Ali Ngouille, who can be considered now as the former Minister of Agriculture, considers himself as more legitimate than Amadou Ba, because he can be considered as the founders of the upper party. He has been with the president since 2012 when the president was elected. So he considered that he's more legitimate. That's why he has chosen to resign, because he considered talking from a political viewpoint just a while ago, when we consider that political aspect of the situation, there is no comparison between a person like Ali Ngouille, who's winning his stronghold of Linguère for many, many years, and Amadou Ba, who cannot win in Parcelles Assainies, which is considered as his base.
Mamadou Chor is a Senegalese political analyst. Up next is Sports Update with Sankule Janko.
Hello out there, a warm welcome and thank you for joining us. The Gambia Scorpions came from 2 goals down to draw 2-2 in Marrakesh on Sunday to secure their second successive Africa Cup of Nations ticket. Makutu put Congo ahead after half an hour before Ganvula's controversial goal from the penalty spot. But the Scorpions regrouped and heaped pressure on the Congolese. Newcastle loanee to Feyenoord, Yankuba Mite pulled one back for the Scorpions in the 79th minute. Super substitute Mohamed Badamosi scored the equalizer in the 98th minute to give the Gambia the needed point to secure qualification. The Scorpions finished second with 10 points in Group G behind group winners Mali with 13 points. And that's it for sports. It's back to you.
We have come to the end of this edition of NewsLink from West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening, and many thanks to Christian Mukidi and Mustafa Sek for the technical assistance. Do interact with us via social media platforms X, formerly Twitter and Instagram at WADR News. On Facebook, West Africa Democracy Radio English Service. I am Taufik Abdul Nasir. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening to NewsLink via Hot 104.3 FM, Newmi FM 94.0, and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County. For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you, your views,